in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
If you just take a region like Apple Pacific, we have 87 countries dealing in 21 different time zones, so there's not a minute at any time when someone isn't doing business in the Pacific. Can you imagine if we had different ethics and standards in each of those countries? It would be absolute chaos.
When we talk about ethics, I think you will find the same word across Europe. Everybody will understand it. That's a global word, ethics or éthique.
There is a word for ethic in Japanese. One is called rinri, and the other is based on dotoku. Both Japanese word has a very strong character. Sounds like something that you're supposed to learn at home or from your parents or your society.
It doesn't matter in which country you live or which language you speak. Ethical behavior is universal and consistent, and it crosses borders.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Sing it with us, come on. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes.
I believe our products were built around ethics, built around some user-friendliness, built around the customer's needs.
Which is as much as the purest statement of changing the world through technology is, here's how we operate as a company, and this is what you expect and can expect from us.
In K-12, our customers do business with us because we're Apple, because of our culture, and the corporate ethics are really a part of that culture, if you will.
That which touches me most is that I had a chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me.
The world around us and the values in the world around us is changing all the time, and so does our business, and that will require that our behavior is going to be different.
As we start operating in these countries, it's important that we bring more than exceptional products, that we bring exceptional business practices with us, so that we make a difference not only by the fact that we empower people with our technology, but by the fact that we set a standard in the way business has to be conducted to be positive for people, for customers, and for the environment.
Ethics are not just about following laws or reading policy books. They are about doing the right thing.
It's to be fair and equitable in what you do, and to set a fairly high standard for those as well.
And you can get past the cultural limitations by keeping that standard above any local laws.
We have people from all over the world, many nationalities, who've grown up with different types of circumstances, different beliefs, different standards. This at least says, here is a standard that can be used by all of you, which enables you to work with each other, to trust each other, and to go out and do business in a similar way.
It also creates an environment of trust and openness, and when you know what to expect from others, I think that you have a higher degree of willingness to work with them and to cooperate with them.
I rather view the ethical principles as a platform, a foundation upon which we build our business and upon how we work together within the company and externally. And then I view it as a freedom.
If you have rules, it also means freedom. You know exactly how to go beyond that, rather than the half-empty definition that constrains us all. You know, here's what's expected, and I go beyond that and be very creative.
Ethics is something you own by yourself. Ethics is not something that is out of yourself, imposed by a third party. So, and if it is, it shows. So that's the purpose of the entire ethics brochure, and the ethics program is to make sure that we internalize it.
This is not only one person's job. The employee, one single employee or the group of employees will not be able to achieve this, because this is really a more larger picture, and people have to share the same way of thinking.
We all differ by by character, nature, and personality would be said if not. But I think for me personally, it says we try to adhere to very high standards as an organization. And to me, that's the first criteria. Put the stake very high in the ground, saying, here's a company you can reckon with and make a difference in the world. And it has very high moral high grounds. And we've done things in treating the ELF issue, for instance, the emission on monitors and things like that. Nobody else does that.
I think we clearly want to be known as a leading edge company with respect to ethics, absolutely. The bottom line is it's good for employees because employees know what to expect. It's good for the business because our customers and our partners will know what to expect and they'll know they can trust us when we say something. I think it's good for the communities in which we do business because the communities are going to know that we're going to go there, we're going to value that community, we're going to value the environment. We're not going to go there just to make a profit and leave, but we're going to try and be good citizens in that community.
I mean, we have to have a financial return strategy in Apple, but we're in for more than just that. We really want to make a positive contribution to society through the things we do.
There is no long-lasting, sustainable business deal that can be gone through violating ethics.
Business is tough. Competitor may not operate in the same ground nodes like we, and so the individual is put in a very, very embarrassing or doubtful situation. Exactly for that, you have to have some common ground rules.
We don't want to bend the rules. We want to play straight so that our customers know what to expect from us, our vendors know what to expect from us, and our people internally know what to do.
I don't know that we can convince people that it's real. I think what I would say to people if they doubt it, that skepticism is probably very healthy, but what I would encourage them to do is to act on it. And if they have concerns or questions, raise them. What we want to do is bring it out into the open, have people talk about it, have them wrestle with these issues. Because what I found is ethical issues are usually not black and white, yes or no issues. They can be very tough. And I think the more they're talked about in the open, it's going to be better for the employee and better for Apple.
Every country has a different custom, such as Japan has a very interesting custom to give a special gifts twice a year. One is in summertime and one is in wintertime. And that is based on the good relationship between companies and also the very good work between the companies and individual. And they always send the gift to the company. And we don't have any custom to open the gift in front of the person who presented the gift. So we do not know what will be in the box or what will be in the present. So it would be much nicer not to simply return if the gift is more valuable things, or if we realize that, oh, we shouldn't get this much or whatever, because they do not know what will be our guideline. And that will be very helpful for them to know Apple's way.
Gift giving is a very important ceremony in many parts of the Pacific region, in Japan particularly so. Giving and receiving of gifts is a normal way to commence business, and if one doesn't participate in that, then the entry into business is probably somewhat limited. The guideline, the brochure, sets out very clearly what the limits of acceptable gift giving are, how they can be applied, and where they should not be applied. And I think once those are explained to prospective new people that we're dealing with, they fully understand and appreciate that this is for the benefit of them, for the employee, and for both corporations.
A trick that's been used in the computer industry in the earlier parts of decades is to ship product, to get billings and then have the customer return the product. That's cheating. It's just cooking books. We never did this. And it would probably never come to our mind that we do this. We're just honest. And it's just one example where I go crazy if I find somebody who wants to make quota and does something like funny in this air and saying, gee, I made it, and de facto we didn't do the right things. And these scandals that are cooking up is just because people just want to get ahead in some way. And it's totally wrong. it's a tough world out there, and you come to the edge of, do you close the deal or not, or do we get the price from a vendor, or whatever. And I think that a descriptive system saying, hey, here basically are ground rules, gives you the guidance to operate. Now you still need to make a decision, and this framework provides some criteria of asking the right questions.
Once you start to misrepresent the possibilities of the products or the kind of services that the company can supply, eventually you will have to deny that. Eventually you or somebody else will have to say, no, that was not true. And that basically destroys trust. That basically destroys the longer term relationship that we have with our customer base and with the business community in general. And there is nothing worse than exciting people, making them think that things are possible and then not deliver. It's much, much better to set lower expectation on what can be done and then over-deliver than the other way around.
How do you attend to ethical business standards in a country where it's assimilated that to do business you must bribe?
What we generally do is to look very clearly at the person that's asking us to do business with them and say, I'm sorry, this is not the way that our company does business. Now, it's very tough for a salesperson that's been out there perhaps working for a year or maybe 2 years to get some business, and they're suddenly faced with a dilemma of, should I bend the rules and go in this direction, or should I say that's unfortunately not the way we do business and walk away from it? The answer is clear. You walk away from the business. You say, no, thank you, we're not allowed to do business in this format. It's not acceptable to my company or to myself, but thank you for the relationship we've had so far. And if you lose the business, that's okay. Because in the short term, it may seem hard. In the long term, it's the right decision for the salesperson, for Apple Computer, and I believe for the person that's asking for the work to be done on the other side. If you start bending the rules at the beginning, how far do you have to bend them at the end? And once you're in, you can never get off. It's like being caught on a hook. Once you're hooked, it depends how hard the fisherman wants to play you afterwards. We don't want to be hooked. We don't want to bend the rules. We want to play straight so that our customers know what to expect from us, our vendors know what to expect from us, and our people internally know what to do.
For me personally, issues will come up that I will get help on addressing as they apply to me personally. And I can come up with a very close friend of mine was looking for a job and was using someone who's I know and work closely with at Apple. The question was, could I deal with that issue fairly since this close personal friend of mine was involved? And I decided, although I thought I probably could, it may have the appearance that I couldn't. And so I gave it to a lawyer in my group and asked him to deal with it however he thought appropriately, so that there wouldn't even, not only just, it wouldn't be right, but I didn't want to have the appearance of a conflict of interest.
This is something which most of the people is facing daily, which is related to that other reseller have the right to set their own price. What other people should focus upon is discussing the different kind of business model our reseller is trying to build their future business upon. I'm coming back on the pricing as an issue. That has been an issue 10 years ago and will continue to be an issue 10 years from now. And we need to be alert and we need to understand what the implications are.
We need to ensure, particularly in a direct end-user business, that we're treating our customers fairly and equitably, that what we offer to one school district is similar to what we're offering to another school district. It's not appropriate for us to give special pricing, special terms and conditions to one area and not to another. But what we have to ensure is that we are willing to offer the same relationship, the same terms and conditions to all customers under the same set of circumstances. And that's really what the key is. We need to ensure equity under the same circumstances. So it's not acceptable to offer one price to one school and simply because it's another part of the country, another sales group in another district, offer a different price to another school.